Hi everyone, this is Dr. Gary Bedicher. In this video, I want to go over the CSCI 5333 online orientation document, and this is available on the Google Drive. So, welcome to the class, which you already know, and sometimes I offer this class as a web-based class, but for this semester it's a face-to-face class. Okay. So for the face-to-face class, as I mentioned before, you're expected to attend all the lectures. And if you miss one lecture, there's no penalty. Each lecture you miss, there'll be a 2-point reduction in your final grade. I take class roll at the beginning of class, and I also take it after the break. So you want to make sure you get back in time after the break, because if you miss the attendance after the break, that counts as an absence. So be very careful about showing up in class on time and coming back from the break on time. Well, here's a quote that I have here. Knowledge is having the right answer. Intelligence is asking the right question. And one of the things I think that's very important in the educational process is the ability to ask questions. Now, what I'll be doing during the semester, let's say I'll be calling on students, and let's say your name's Pradeep. I might say, Pradeep, ask me a question, a database question. So as you go through the notes, you want to be able to ask questions. And I might spend anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes in the beginning of class asking questions. Now, one thing that's happened in the educational system in a lot of countries is you sit in class, the professor lectures, blah, blah, blah. You take notes, and you're really kind of passive and quiet. Well, I think it's important I want to help you become more intelligent, and the way I'll do that is to have you ask questions. Now, I know starting out that's not going to be easy, especially if you're not used to doing something like that. And sometimes, you look around the class, you think, oh my goodness, there's like 30, 35 students. You don't want to ask questions because you might look stupid. Well, I find that I ask a lot of questions. They might be stupid questions, and I don't care. So think of it this way. You're paying for your education. You're paying thousands of dollars. You want to get your money's worth. And the way to get your money's worth is to ask lots of questions. Okay, so you'll find in class I encourage questions. Now right here, we've gone over, the previous video went over the syllabus, so we'll skip that there. I mentioned the Google Drive. For the face-to-face, if you've not done so already, send me some Gmail address. I'll send you I'll add it to the Google Drive. I'll also send you the password for the class. So please do that as soon as possible. Now I mentioned we'll be using Blackboard, and the way we use Blackboard is for quizzes. If you have any problems accessing Blackboard, here's a support center at uhcl.edu, and their phone number is 281-283-2828. And I find that quite helpful to answer questions. I mentioned about quizzes in the syllabus video. Also, when you take quizzes, be very careful to select the correct quiz. So if you're supposed to take quiz 4, don't choose quiz 5. Be very careful about that. Once you start, there's no turning back. Typically with a quiz, you're allowed 2 minutes per question. So if it's a 10-question quiz, it'll say 20 minutes. Quizzes stop at the end of a given time period, so make sure you pace yourself when taking quizzes. As I mentioned in the syllabus video, quizzes have hard deadlines, so you got to pay attention to the deadlines. And part of this is I want you to develop some discipline. As I mentioned in the previous video, quizzes have deadlines prior to attending class, and the reason I do that is so that you know what you don't know. Okay, so pay very careful attention to the quizzes. Now I've gone over the online syllabus, and there are more than 40 videos available for this class. I also have a second motto. Well, the first one I want to point out is, in terms of grades, take it very serious, because if you get a poor grade, you might lose a scholarship. So try not to wait till the very end and realize, oh no, I got a C in this class, I'm going to lose a scholarship. That's not a reason I will change your grade. So I'll tell you that right now. Also, I've got another motto, which is no excuses, only results. And I've worked in industry for a while, and I find what happens is people don't care about your excuses why you didn't get something done, or you didn't get a project done or assignment done, especially when they pay you money. People get a lot more serious about money than, say, grades for a class. So remember that second motto, no excuses, only results. I've talked about quizzes, okay, in previous there. Cell phones off and away. So make sure you turn your cell phone off. This is the third time I've mentioned it, so it's very important. Couple other things. The best way to reach me is via email. I try to check my email within 6-hour period, so I try to get back to you within 6 hours. The book has chapters, the notes have units. I've talked about the attendance so far. Also, in terms of the cheating, I mentioned I take it very seriously, so you want to be very careful. And if you do cheat, it could cost you a scholarship, it could cost you a TA position. So there's a lot of bad consequences if you do get caught cheating. So by all means, do not cheat. If you're having problems, see me as quickly as you're having the problems. That is, if you're struggling, don't wait to, like the class before the midterm or the final, say, gee, I'm really stuck on ideas A, B, C, D, E, F, G. What you want to do is get things resolved, because what you'll find in the class, the concepts are going to be building upon each other. So you see building these layers, and you want to make sure that you don't miss out on the foundation as we go forward. Also, the syllabus quiz may be taken many times, but all other quizzes you can only take one time. Now, I've been teaching, I started teaching, I hate to admit this, back in 1983, which is many, many years ago, or 84, sorry. And there are two types of students I've seen. Those that want a degree, but not an education, and then there are those that are driven to learn. Students that just want a degree and not education, they show up to class. They've not read the notes. Sometimes they literally printed off the notes about 10 minutes before class. They cheat on quizzes and probably, cheat on projects, don't ask questions in class. They show zero excitement in class. They enroll in easy classes, and which require very little effort. And the only time they contact me is like the class after, the midterm. Oh, I did really poorly. What am I going to do? Or they want a higher grade because they're going to lose a scholarship. So you don't want to be one of those students. Okay. For those driven to learn, they show up to class very well prepared. They reviewed the notes at least 5 times. They're proactive. They sometimes put solutions to problems on the board without being asked. Typically, they sit in front in class. That's not required. They're curious, ask lots of questions. They stop by my office to chat, and maybe it doesn't have to be about databases, things like what first got you in computer science or software engineering, what is your goals, your research, and it could be an informal talk. If I use a bulletin board, they post articles, and they're focused on learning as much as they can rather than getting an A. And I mentioned the policy before in the syllabus about everyone starts with 2 points. I'll do a review in class. And so if a student answers the question, they don't lose anything, but if they miss the question, somebody else answers it, you're basically accumulating somebody else's points. And I've had a student accumulate up to 9 points, and I've had students lose up to 8 points. So you want to come to class very well prepared. Okay, thank you.